Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast series for September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. We're interviewing families who have gone through childhood cancer. Our guest today is Alan Ehrlich, grandfather of Samara. To start off, could you tell us about Samara?
I can tell you about Samara. Samara is probably one of the most beautiful people I know, both inside and out. She she's an incredible lady. When she was 6 years old, she was diagnosed. Uh, Treatment for rhabdo, pediatric rhabdo, is something I would never want to go through. It's it's a horror. It really is. I would talk about that more. But she has taken her disability because she ended up being having a leg amputated, um, which was a lifesaver for her. Uh, but she's taken that disability and literally ran with it. Um, there is nothing that stops her. She was um, on various teams in high school. Um, just she performed in every stage performance that they had in high school, and her goal is to become a director of stage productions uh, long term. So, matter of fact, she just came back from a 7 week camp program in Maine uh, as a counselor. It's a camp for stage productions. So she acted a number of them, and now she's producing them. So she's now 19 years old and doing great.
That's really cool.
So she has really adapted well to the disabilities that unfortunately she has.
Yeah. So, could you go a bit more in depth about what the cancer journey was like?
Oh, cancer journey was no fun. Like I said, she was 6 years old. Her father found a small lump on her calf, and he said it didn't feel like a mosquito bite. So he took her to the pediatrician. Now, we were very, very fortunate, where most people would not be this fortunate, unfortunately. Her pediatrician said, "We'll take a look. If it's fluid filled, like a cyst, we'll just drain it and put an antibiotic on it and send her on her way. If it's solid, we're sending her right to the hospital and have it biopsied." Now, most pediatricians would just say, Leave it, we'll take a look at it in a week or two and see what's going on." Our pediatrician was sharp, was just really focused, and I don't think he's ever dealt with rhabdo before, but he just had a feeling that this had to be looked at right away. Went to the hospital, they did a biopsy. Biopsy indicated rhabdo. And this is a cancer center in New Jersey. I won't name them, but big cancer center in New Jersey. And their attitude was, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll just cut it out and it'll be fine." And her father, her mother, her grandmother, and myself all looked at each other and said, "No." So they went on a search for the best place to have this treated. They went to the Mayo, not the Mayo Clinic, but uh, MSK in New York. They went to Boston Children's, and they went to Philadelphia Hospital for Children, CHOP, Children's Hospital Philadelphia, and they decided to go with CHOP. And CHOP had an interesting. They did not want to use uh, any radiation. They were going to treat it with chemo and amputate if necessary. Um, Sloan Kettering, MSK, was going to treat it with radiation. And if you treat something on your leg with radiation, what you end up with is a dead leg, and you'd have to wear a brace all the time. Um, excuse me. He's looking for attention. Uh, we went to CHOP. They treated her with chemo for a while, and the chemo is devastating. They actually give children more chemo than they give adults. They really want to wipe it out. They feel that the children can handle it. And she was in such bad shape that she looked at her grandmother one time and said, "If I don't make it through here," and she remembers she's 6 years old, says, "If I don't make it through here, remember that I love everybody, and it's better off this way than being a problem for everybody later." She made it through. They did an amputation, and her brother one day said that the amputation was very odorous. It smelled terrible. So they took her back to the hospital and they found that there was gangrene in the wound. So they re-amputated a little bit higher, got rid of the gangrene, and that's where that stayed. Um, by theory, and it's been backed up a few times by some of the experts, is that the gangrene is what saved her life. Okay. Um, there's a element of gangrene called Clostridium, and it's been used in the past to kill cancer. But the problem is it does a good job of killing the cancer, but it kills the patient. She lucked out. I guess they caught it at the right time, whatever. She lucked out. But we've reviewed everything. I mean, Dr. Keller has. We've had her speak at a Rhabdo research conference, and everybody tends to agree that it was probably the gangrene that saved her. Uh, she got used to the prosthetic pretty quickly. She built up her strength. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, she had feeding tubes, she had breathing tubes, she had all kinds of tubes going in and out of her for a while. And, but she made it through. And from a situation where they gave her a 10 to 15% chance of survival, she survived very well. So she's doing great right now. And since then, there's been no indication of recurrent disease. So that is all good. That is all
Really
good.
good to hear.
She's done well.
Do you think there's anything you would have done differently?
Um, no, no. We certainly allowed her parents to make the decisions. Anyway, they spoke to us. That was fine. But we allowed her parents to make most of the decisions, which was important. We're not her parents, you know.
Right.
We were there to give whatever advice we could give. And at the time, neither of us were very sharp. We had no idea what pediatric cancer was or what it was like or anything. I mean, we were as in the dark as anybody else. And while being in that dark, so this will head over to your next question. Uh, we were searching for any answers that we could give, that we could get. And in doing so, we called this research physician in Oregon, a gentleman by the name of Charles Keller. And we wanted to ask him some questions. And he said, "Look, I'm going to be in Philadelphia in a couple of weeks. Why don't we get together there?" So he was talking at University of Pennsylvania, giving a lecture. So after his lecture, he met us, and we had quite a conversation. It was a very excellent conversation. I figured he would give us, 5 minutes. He's a busy researcher, and we probably spent 2 hours. I ended up having to drive him to the airport because he was going to miss his flight. And we became friends. And one of the things Dr. Keller asked for was how we could create a community that connected the researchers, the pediatricians, the uh, clinicians, and the families together. How could we create one group? How could we create that community? And I thought about it for a while, and it's not something I'd ever done before, but we created Focus on Rhabdo. And when Focus on Rhabdo started, it, it was different than it is today. At that time, we were holding webinars uh, on at least a monthly basis. We tried every 2 weeks. We had researchers talk, we had clinicians talk, we had parents come in and be able to ask questions. Um, we had an active Facebook group. We had a website that provided a lot of information. Uh, but things happen. Um, Not long after we got that going, um, my wife had breast cancer. Um, we had COVID. Um, I had some cardiac issues, and we relegated the website to be the most educational website on Rhabdo that we could make. But time was not permissive of having all of the other community factors. So we'll still answer questions. We still get involved with some of the research uh, programs. We get involved with as much as we can. So Focus on Rhabdo is, I hope, the place to go for information for families on Rhabdo.
Yeah. So, what do you think are the next steps for you and Samara?
The next step for Samara is to go to college and pursue her dream. Uh, the next step for me is probably get back a little bit more involved in the Rhabdo research. And I think it's going to be important for everybody at this point to get involved in pediatric cancer research because of the funding situation that has now disappeared. I mean, millions and millions of dollars that were focused on childhood cancer research has been taken away. And makes me angry. And we're going to have to figure out a way to either get the government to start to fund or to get other ways of funding.
Yeah.
One of the things that Dr. Keller and I talked about a long time ago was um, to create kind of a cover organization that would bring a lot of small foundations who collect money, but not a lot of money, together because a lot of smalls make a big. And that is starting to happen. So there is now a group formed that is bringing foundations together to try to come up with a larger grant system. A Focus on Rhabdo was never a foundation. It was never designed to collect money. It was just designed as an educational facility. Okay. And I'd probably like to get back involved in cc-TDI. Dr. Keller and I the, were the formative two. There was only the two of us at the beginning. Uh, I got a phone call from him one day saying, Alan, guess what? And I said, what? And he said, we're going to start a laboratory. And I said, "Who's the we?" He says, "You and me." I said, "Oh, that's nice." And we got it started. If you see him sometime, ask him how we got the first uh, laboratory. Um, I can't think of the term. I'm sorry. Uh, Workspace set up. Here we had this thing that was supposed to be on legs, and the legs were sitting on one side, and this thing was sitting on the floor. And this thing weighed uh, over a ton. And there's only two of us. How are we going to get this thing? We couldn't lift it. We'd have to lift it up about 3.5 feet and put the legs underneath it. So the two of us went running around and we bought a winch and we started to winch it up using kind of like a car jack. We jack it up a couple inches, put a 2x4 under it, run around to the other side, jack that side up a couple inches, put a 2x4 under it, back and forth until we had it up high enough. We slid the legs underneath and we got it done. It was the funniest thing you'd ever want to see, but it
Yeah.
worked. Yeah, I stayed with cc-TDI for about a year. They were moving to Oregon, and I'm in New Jersey, and the commute was a little rougher than I'd want it to be, and I wasn't going to be moving. And Dr. Keller's done an incredible job of building up that laboratory. From the two of us, or I guess Noah was there, and one other person was there when we started the official laboratory, which was a year after. Uh, and he's built it up tremendously. I'm so proud of him. It's unbelievable how proud I am of him.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
You know, I think I've shared everything that I can. I think we have to be very careful with pediatric cancers. Uh, there's side effects that the doctors don't tell you about, and there's tremendous side effects to the chemotherapy, and we have to be aware, not only aware of them, but we have to have ways of either avoiding them or treating them afterwards. And I just wrote a paper recently about hearing loss and chemotherapy. And a lot of the chemotherapy agents actually induce a hearing loss on some patients, and it's a lifelong situation. So we've got to be careful. We need a lot more research, not only on how to kill the Rhabdo cells. I'd love to go back and Dr. Keller's offered me lab space if I ever wanted to investigate the Clostridium effects on cancer cells. I'm not that kind of a researcher. I've never been in that kind of a lab. So it would be fun to do, but not right now.
Yep.
Maybe in my next lifetime.
I mean, it does sound like a really interesting topic.
It is. It is. And the other thing that we need to look at is to at the oncologist level in the hospital, physical therapy and the transition to prosthetics should a patient need it. And it should be done very early. The longer you wait, the more difficult it is for the patient. So those are the things that I think are really important. And, I think number one is to find a way to survival for these patients. You're not going to eradicate the disease directly, but you find a path to survival and then treat the surviving patient with everything that's necessary to have them done right. That's my thoughts.
Right. Thank you so much for being part of the series.